Welcome back to Adulting and Money. If you remember last episode, we went over how to split the income between James and Mary to make sure they have an equitable bill sharing relationship. And in this episode, we're going to go over how to bring that over to share the actual bills that they have. We're going to be using some generic averages that I've Googled to find out exactly what the average cell phone bill, rent bill is and things like that. But in this episode, I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, this is not a sales pitch. This is just some things that work for me, and I'm hoping it works for you. And hit me up in the comments if there's something you want to see or any questions you have. I appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for the rest of the episode. So as you can see, I've added columns right here for rent, power, water, cable, internet, cell phone plan, Hulu. I put life insurance for both of them. This could be health insurance. You don't have to put life insurance in here, but it's however you want to compute your bills. Also put renter's insurance because, again, we're assuming they're renting at this point. And I just put charity in here at the bottom at $50. You can adjust these bills to match yours. And at this point, I'd encourage you to hit pause and copy these into a spreadsheet that match your bills. And it may take you a little while to get these all calculated correctly, but you want to put these into a spreadsheet so you actually know how much you're spending on each one. So you can see I added a key to the spreadsheet to kind of explain some of these colors. We're not using all of them right now. However, the ones that are on here, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing with those and why particular colors are in the joint bills column. So the yellow is we're waiting for that to happen. Like, for example, we're 1 month ahead right now, so they haven't paid their rent yet for this month, so it's yellow. Now, you want to make sure that these bills aren't things that are going to vary widely. So if there's a little bit of change up and down a couple bucks, like your water bill or power bill, that's okay. And we're going to get back into stabilizing your power bill later. But for things that are static, that are just the normal payment doesn't change month to month, like car insurance, then this works really good for that. These other ones down here, like joint credit card, don't panic over that one yet. I'll explain it when we get to it. But I'm going to go over all of these different colors that I'm kind of using the mouse to circle over here. And this is going to make a little bit more sense the further we go. So I encourage you to stick with it, and we'll get there. Part of the yellow versus green that I use when I'm paying my bills is when I'm looking at my income, I have, at the beginning of the month, I have all of these changed to yellow because I haven't been paid yet. So once I get paid, so say on this one, on the 1st April, James gets paid. So he goes into the spreadsheet and he's like, yes, I got paid. So the money's in his account, he knows. And then on the 15th, when he gets paid, he goes in again and turns it green. But up until he's paid, those are yellow because they're tentative numbers that we think are going to happen. And we just want to make sure that we are planning appropriately based on what we think those numbers are going to be. All right, so you can see that I've added columns here for James and for Mary, and this is the percent adjusted based on their percentage of the income that they bring into the household. What we want to do is figure out how to figure out how much of each bill does each one of them pay. Now you can do this by just doing a total down here at the bottom, and the way you do that is in your totals box right here. We have this highlighted right here where it says totals. You want to go up here into your formula bar, and you're going to type equals sum, open parentheses, and then what you're going to do is click on the top block and drag all the way to the bottom of everything that you are adding up. This could be 5 blocks, it could be 10 blocks, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever your joint bills are. Then close the parentheses and hit enter. And that gives you the total right here of how much James and Mary's total bills are completely. Now the reason I split these two percentages out is because you will have some of these that one person will contribute more than the other. For example, in our house, we have internet. I like super high-speed internet, which costs a little bit more. My wife does not, so I contribute the difference between the base internet and the high-speed internet, and that's the part that I am paying for, so that formula is slightly different. In this case, what we're going to use is a generic split between James and Mary to come up with the bill for each individual item, and we'll go into how to split it up later. Now to figure these, what we want to do is figure out what is James's percentage of rent. So what we're going to do is use equals the amount of the bill times, which is the asterisk sign on your keyboard, and his percentage, because James makes 54.8% of the money, he's paying 54.8% of the bill. So what we're going to do is hit enter, and that gives us $770. Now, what I like to do on this one is to eliminate the pennies on your bills so you don't end up chasing your checking account trying to find that last penny that didn't calculate out when you reconciled your checking account. So what I use is you just put this whole formula in parentheses, the F4 times the B11, put the whole thing in parentheses, and that doesn't change anything. You can hit enter and that doesn't change anything. But what we want to do is between the equal sign and the parentheses, put the words round up. Now this will vary depending on if you're using OpenOffice or Excel or Google Sheets. This is Google Sheets, so if you're using Google Sheets, this is what you use. So you hit round up. Now that still gives us the same result, but what we're going to do is to expand this to the rest of the bills, we're going to drag it down to the bottom. You see that little blue box on the corner right here? Drag this all the way down and let go of the mouse, and then what that does is give you all these zeros. Well, wait, is James paying 0? No, just because Google Spreadsheets isn't smart enough to figure out what we're trying to do. What you notice is if you look in the formula bar right here that says F4 times B11, that's what we wanted. And the one right below it says F5 times B12. Well, the F5 is correct because that's right here. But what it does is when you drag it down, it changes every single one. So what we need to do is just go quickly change this real quick to B11 on all of those. All right, so in this, I've skipped ahead a little bit. I've gone ahead and corrected all of the formulas for James. As you can see through here, as I click through, you make sure that this is B11. When you look at any of these, it selects his percentage and the bill, and it has roundup on it, and it's in parentheses. So the whole thing comes out to the math, so the math is right. Now I went ahead and did the exact same thing for Mary with the F4 times C11, because now we're using her percentage and the bills. And you do the exact same thing where you grab this little plus on the blue box right in the corner, and then you just drag it down, then you go back and correct it much the same way we did for James. So instead of B11 for James, it's C11. And then we just copy it between each one. And it's very simple once you get it done. Now, the other thing I did was I added a total down here for both of them because we're going to use this later when we go to compute how much they need to deposit into the joint checking account so they can pay their part of the monthly bills. Another thing I like to do on this is to put a column in here with due dates on it just so I know when things are coming out, and I randomly select them some arbitrary days that will be going on here. And what that does is just gives me a little bit better way to track when these things will be coming out and just helps keep me organized. All right, one last thing I wanted to show you is a lot of these are marked green, like these two right here, and then these for the life insurance through charity. These are set to come out automatically. A lot of your bills, you can have these set up to come out automatically if you set them up that way. The best thing you can do is have your joint bills set up to come out automatically because we're trying to pay 1 month ahead. Remember, as we mentioned that earlier in one of the earlier videos, is to pay 1 month ahead and have your bills come out automatically, and then you never have to worry about whether the money is in there or not. Sometimes you may or may not be able to get your rent to come out automatically. If you can, I highly suggest it. It's beneficial. It's one less check you have to write. I have James and Mary's power bill set up. This is the average power bill in America, so I have theirs set up as an automatic, but sometimes it goes up and down by a couple dollars. So I have theirs set as yellow, and they just wait for the email that says, hey, here's how much your power bill was. So if it's $119, they've already budgeted for $118, so there's no emergency. Same way with your water bill. I have my water bill set up to come out automatically, but it does vary by a couple bucks every month. So again, as long as you're planning for $71, if it's $73, it's not the end of the world. But if you have it budgeted at $20 and it's $70, that's kind of a big deal. The goal is to have as little fluctuation as possible in your joint bills. That's it for this episode. I appreciate you all watching, commenting, subscribing, etc. I hope that you get something useful out of this. Again, stick with us. We're going to finish the rest of the spreadsheet and go into how to move from month to month. And next episode is going to be the joint savings account and the things that they are budgeting for that aren't bills. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next episode.